Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Thursday, April the 20th, 2023. Today is the anniversary of the most infamous birth in history, perhaps. Yes, if he'd still been alive, it would be Adolf Hitler's 134th birthday. And when people talk about Adolf Hitler and astrology and sun signs, they sometimes get a bit confused. A lot of people say that he's an Aries. I don't know why. I think it's because, I suppose it's because when you see the star sign dates, they sometimes say that Aries ends on April the 20th. But really, the sun changes sign at a precise time. And you can't say for sure that Aries ends on April the 20th. And in fact, Hitler was for sure, a Taurus. But as it's his birthday, I thought I would quickly look at his chart. I mean, it's a very interesting chart. It says a lot about astrology. It also says a lot about the mistakes astrologers can make. So, without any further ado, and before I look at today's stars, I will look at Hitler's horoscope. So here it is. No, that's today's chart. Here's Hitler's chart, Hitler's horoscope. So Hitler was born on April the 20th, 1889 at 6:30 p.m. Now, interestingly, 4 days before he was born, Charlie Chaplin had his birthday. So Charlie Chaplin was born on April the 16th, 1889, and Hitler was born on April the 20th, 1889. And that kind of shows the difference. You know, Charlie Chaplin was an Aries, but they still seem to have this connection. One of Charlie Chaplin's most famous films was The Great Dictator, where he parodied dictators like Hitler. So as far as Hitler's chart is concerned, most important thing is he is a Taurus. Now, when I talked about Timothy McVeigh, who was also a Taurus, I mentioned that Taurus has this feature that they just do what they say. People don't take them seriously, and they just do it. And, you know, at the end of the First World War, Hitler was rambling about his strange views and his view of the world, but he was absolutely persistent. That Taurean persistence to see things through until the very end. We'll notice in his chart, but he actually doesn't have anything in mutable signs. So, I mean, any traditional planet, okay, he's got Neptune and Pluto in Gemini, but he doesn't have any personal planets in the mutable signs of Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. So he was incredibly rigid. He saw things through to the absolute end, and when things went wrong, he found it difficult to change. Now, there are some things in Hitler's horoscope which some people might find puzzling. Now, before the Second World War, there were astrologers who thought that Adolf Hitler was a man of peace, that you couldn't possibly have a war with Adolf Hitler in charge of Germany because he has Libra rising. Libra is the sign of peace. It's rising in Hitler's chart, so, you know, we can trust him not to plunge the world into a world war. Now, that shows that it's very dangerous to make generalizations. Another thing about Hitler is he's got a Venus-Mars conjunction. There's Venus and Mars. Now, Venus and Mars is, you know, often associated with sexual attractiveness. I mean, I don't know about the sexual side of things, but he was certainly attractive to a lot of people. They voted for him. You know, he was elected He won an election. So in that sense, the German people, they can't complain. They got what they asked for, and they had to suffer the consequences. And that Venus-Mars conjunction kind of ties with the Libra rising. Libra rising was someone who could deal very well with people. When people went into his presence, things happened. He was very charismatic. Also, notice Moon-Jupiter conjunction. Now, the Moon does not work well in Capricorn. It's in its detriment. Jupiter does not work well in Capricorn. It's in its fall. So Moon-Jupiter conjunction, though, is about someone who is lucky. It doesn't matter the fact that it's in Capricorn. When you've got Moon and Jupiter together, it is very fortunate. And, the Capricorn thing, he might have got his luck in material ways, not about just being light and free and happy, as, if Moon Jupiter was conjunction in, say, Cancer or some lighter sign like Pisces. But in Capricorn, it's materialistic, it's egotistical, it's about benefiting yourself and to hell with other people. But I suppose that's still fortunate. Also, he had a Mars-Saturn conjunction, Mars-Saturn square. Now, there's his Mars at 16 Taurus, and there's his Saturn at 13 Leo. So they're in square aspect. And as I keep saying, Mars and Saturn are the death pair. Here is a person who in himself was very frustrated, and was able to bring his frustration out onto the world at large. He couldn't get what he wanted. He wasn't recognized. For example, as an artist in Austria, he couldn't get recognition, and this perhaps drove him crazy. And this transmuted into a person who caused a huge, huge amount of damage and death. And worse still, the midpoint. Now, if you find the midpoint of Mars and Saturn, it's around 0 degrees Cancer. But I think it's 5 minutes off 0 degrees Cancer. In other words, it's square the Aries point. The Aries point is the world at large. So if you've got Aries on the Mars-Saturn midpoint, then you are able to inflict death on the world around you. And clearly he demonstrated that. So in many respects, it's a chart that actually does fit him. That Saturn, by the way, although Saturn is in Leo, it does work well in that place, because Saturn is a day planet. So the fact that the chart that he was born in the daytime helps Saturn. And when you've got a day planet, it works well when it's above the horizon. It's above the horizon. And Saturn is a masculine planet, and it's in Leo, which is a masculine sign. So at first Saturn might seem weak, but when you actually look at it from a perspective of whether it's when day and night and so forth, I think traditionally they called it the sects, sects. Robert Hahn wrote quite a lot about that, and that Saturn is good, and helped propel him to the heights of power in Germany. So, overall, I think Hitler's chart is quite descriptive of who he was. Anyway, enough of him, and I will move to today's chart. So, what is going on today? It's just after a new moon, so it is for many of us a new beginning. The moon is now waxing; it's getting stronger. Things are on the up. It's a time to start new projects. As I said when I did a video on the new moon specifically, and when these new projects, we don't have to tell the whole world about them. New moons are about doing things in secret. Did I see anything else? I made some notes about this. That's about. Oh, there's some other stuff going on which is kind of interesting. The Sun at 0 Taurus is square Pluto, so that is quite intense. That does suggest some kind of power struggle. People are going to be desperate to control each other. So if you're involved in politics or things like that, it could be quite a hectic day. Mars is also interesting because it's quite close, very close to the Sun in the United States, in the horoscope of the United States, for the time the USA declared its independence. So with Mars on the Sun of the USA, I don't know what the USA is up to. It's such an aggressive government. It's looking for war left, right, and centre. So you need to watch Americans today, tomorrow as well. Just look at what they're up to. Look at the damage, destruction, etc. that they're inflicting on the world. See who they're pushing into a war. See what they want to destroy. So that's something to look for. As far as that, as far as anything else is concerned, I think that's about it. So I want to finish off by looking at the 12 signs. The 12 signs. Okay, so Aries for today. 4 stars. Do you really want to fight the government? In terms of money and business, it's a new tide of affairs. Taurus, 4 stars. You're the initiator, and you are responsible for what you start. Gemini, 3 stars. It's probably best to keep it to yourself. Cancer, 4 stars. A sense of disciplined harmony, particularly in terms of relationships. Leo, 4 stars. At work, you are successful, but don't do anything dangerous. Virgo, 4 stars. Thought, prayer, and meditation show you a different side of life. Libra, 2 stars. Short-term, existing plans may not be worth the effort. Scorpio, 3 stars. Partners matter, and don't be tempted to misuse your power. Sagittarius, 2 stars. Remove the complications and work within your own limits. Capricorn, 3 stars. A new creative endeavour starts to formulate in your mind. Aquarius, 4 stars. Behind the scenes, you assert a formidable amount of power. Pisces, 4 stars. You send an email or perhaps a text message and it changes everything. Now, as far as the I Ching is concerned, this might give a different flavour for today, and I got hexagram number 26. It didn't move anywhere. So this is the taming power of the great. And the taming power of the great, using the Wilhelm translation of the I Ching, says that you need to hold in three ways. You need to hold firm, you need to hold back, and you need to hold others. So holding firm means sticking to what you know and believe. Don't go looking for something else. Don't go looking for new excitement. Holding back, that's it. Don't be tempted. There is something going on and you might feel you want to get involved, but don't get involved. Hold back. Holding others means there are going to be other people that need your support. So be there for them. Be ready to support them and comfort them if they need help. And in terms of money and finance and whatever, don't go zooming around looking for help from other people. Rely on your own resources today, because that is the way to maintain your credibility and, in the long term, to be successful. Anyway, that is all I'm going to say for today, and I will see you tomorrow.